Let me tell you something today. God is not random. He's not rolling dice in heaven, trying to figure out who you should end up with. He's not up there improvising your love story like it's a last-minute thought. No, God is strategic. He's deliberate. He's precise. And when it comes to bringing you your soulmate, He has a plan that's been in motion long before you even knew you needed one. See, we serve a God who doesn't waste moves. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment you faced in relationships, it wasn't pointless. It was a setup. It was strategy, because when God is aligning destiny, He doesn't rush, He builds. Some of you are frustrated because you feel like your prayers for love have gone unanswered. But let me ask you something. What if God didn't say no? He just said, not yet. What if the silence was sacred? What if the waiting was a signal that He's moving pieces behind the curtain of your life? You see, God isn't just trying to bring you someone. He's trying to build the you while He's preparing them. He's crafting a union that will glorify Him, not just satisfy you. You can't see what God is doing, but that doesn't mean He's not doing something. Just because you haven't met them yet doesn't mean God hasn't already picked them out. There's a divine choreography happening in the background. He's shifting hearts, removing distractions, breaking toxic ties, and opening spiritual eyes. He's lining up timing, geography, maturity, and calling, because your soulmate isn't just someone who looks good beside you. They are someone who fits the destiny inside you. Now, I need you to understand this. The enemy loves to make you believe God has forgotten you, that He's blessing everyone else but skipped over you. But the devil is a liar. God isn't in a rush to impress you. He's working to bless you. If He brought them too early, you wouldn't be ready, or they wouldn't be. And instead of building something holy, you'd be surviving something broken. But when it's God's time, it won't be forced. It won't be full of confusion. It'll flow with grace, peace, and purpose. Sometimes God allows us to experience the wrong ones so we can recognize the right one. That's not punishment. That's preparation. And even in heartbreak, God is strategic. Even in rejection, He's redirecting you. Because while you're trying to hold on to people who were only meant to teach you, God is holding on to someone who was meant to love you. You're praying for a partner, but God is preparing a purpose partner. Somebody who can walk with you, pray with you, believe with you. Somebody who won't just hold your hand, but help you hold your calling. So don't despise the process. Don't curse the waiting season. Don't think God's silence is the absence of a plan. His silence is sometimes the sound of Him working the most. While you're worrying about the when, He's crafting the who, aligning the why, and designing the how. When it finally comes together, you'll look back and thank Him for every time it didn't work, for every door that closed, for every person who walked away, because none of it was wasted. It was all part of the secret plan. Trust Him. Trust His timing. Trust that your soulmate isn't lost. They're being led, and so are you. Before God reveals, He prepares. That's the divine order. He doesn't just drop blessings into unready hands. And when it comes to your soulmate, God isn't going to introduce you to someone who's meant to walk with your destiny until He knows you're ready to carry it. See, the waiting season isn't just about time. It's about transformation. It's about what God is doing in you While you're waiting on him to send them, you're praying for love, but God is building capacity. You're asking for a connection, but God is working on your character. Some of us are asking for a love we're not yet mature enough to handle. We want a partner who's loyal, faithful, spiritually grounded, but we're still entertaining people who are distractions, not destiny. And God, in his mercy, won't let you miss the right one by being entangled with the wrong one. He loves you too much to give you something you're not prepared to keep. That's why he closes doors. That's why he delays answers. That's why he allows silence. Because preparation always comes before revelation. You may feel like nothing is happening, but heaven is at work. God is trimming the excess. He's cutting away pride, insecurity, bitterness, and residue from past relationships. Because you can't step into a new season carrying old pain. You can't welcome someone new while still being tied to what broke you. So God breaks the soul ties, heals the identity wounds, and aligns your vision. Because he knows that a soulmate is more than someone who makes you feel good. They're someone who helps you walk into who you really are. The danger is when we try to skip preparation and jump to revelation. That's when we settle. That's when we chase. That's when we compromise. But a soulmate isn't someone you have to chase. They're someone you recognize through the Spirit. And you won't recognize them if you're still operating from a wounded place. You won't see them clearly if you're looking through the lens of loneliness. You won't receive them rightly if your heart is still rehearsing rejection. So while you're waiting, let God work. Let him mature your heart. Let him teach you how to love without fear. Let him stretch your patience and deepen your discernment, because the right person at the wrong time can still end in disaster. But the right person, revealed in the right season, becomes a reflection of God's faithfulness in your life. Understand this. God is not just preparing them for you. He's preparing you for them. Because you are the answer to someone's prayer too. And you don't want to be an unfinished work handed into the hands of someone who's been faithful in their waiting. So don't rush it. Don't resent it. Embrace the process. There is a version of you that God is cultivating right now. A healed version, a whole version, a focused version that will be able to love and be loved in ways your broken self never could. You don't need to perform to find love. You don't need to beg for connection. God's plan doesn't require your panic. It requires your trust. When the preparation is complete, the revelation will be undeniable. You won't have to guess. You won't have to force. You won't have to wonder. It will be clear. It will be right. It will be God. So hold on. Let him finish what he started. The wait is not wasted. The silence is not empty. You're not being ignored. You're being prepared. And when he says, now, everything will make sense. If you want to receive the love you're praying for, you have to become the person God is calling you to be. It's not enough to sit back and wait for the perfect soulmate to fall into your lap while you stay the same. God's plan is bigger than just giving you someone to fill a void. He wants to use this relationship to help you grow, to refine your character, and to walk in your purpose. You see, prayer isn't just about asking. It's about aligning. You must become the answer to your own prayer. Too many people pray for love, but neglect the work God is doing inside them. They want a partner who is kind, faithful, and mature, but they aren't cultivating those qualities in themselves. You can't expect someone to be the spouse you need if you're not the spouse they need. God's secret plan is just about finding your soulmate. It's about becoming the soulmate someone else has been praying for. This is a divine exchange. God is working in you to prepare you for the person He is preparing for you. When you start to understand that your growth is part of God's plan, waiting becomes easier. Instead of frustration, you find purpose in the process. Instead of impatience, you develop patience. Instead of fear, you walk in faith. God's preparation is a refining fire. It's breaking off pieces of pride, selfishness, and insecurity that could sabotage your relationship if left unchecked. He's teaching you how to love yourself in a healthy way so you can love someone else fully and freely. This means that your prayer for a soulmate is also a prayer for personal transformation. It's a call for God to shape you into a person who reflects His love, grace, and faithfulness. Because the reality is, the way you love today might be the way you need to love tomorrow. Relationships require growth. Both partners growing together, learning together, forgiving together. If one person is ready and the other is stuck, the relationship will suffer. But when God shapes both hearts, that union becomes a powerful testimony of His faithfulness. And here's the beautiful part. This process is not just about sacrifice or struggle. It's about discovery. You get to discover strengths you didn't know you had. You find depths of patience, kindness, and resilience that you never expected. You learn what it means to trust God, not just with your future, but with your present. Becoming the person you need to be is a journey of faith. It's a journey of hope. And it's a journey that leads you closer to the person God has designed for you. Don't be discouraged by your imperfections. Don't be overwhelmed by the idea that you have to be perfect to receive love. God is not calling you to be flawless. He's calling you to be faithful. Faithful in growth, faithful in healing, faithful in waiting. When you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, God honors that. He sees your effort. He sees your heart. And He matches your commitment with His own divine grace. So instead of just praying for your soulmate, start praying for transformation. Pray for the courage to face your weaknesses. Pray for the strength to break old patterns. Pray for the wisdom to know what real love looks like. Not just the feeling, but the choice and the commitment. Because love is not just something you find, it's something you become. When God finally brings your soulmate into your life, it won't just be a meeting, it will be a divine convergence of two prepared hearts. Two people who have grown in grace, patience, and love. You're ready to build a life that reflects God's purpose. That's God's secret plan, not just to bring you someone, but to bring you someone who complements the person you've become. So become that person. Become the answer to your own prayer. And watch how God unfolds the rest. When God brings your soulmate into your life, He's not just matching you with someone based on attraction or convenience. It's deeper than that. God's plan is not to give you someone who simply fits your preferences, your checklist, or your ideal fantasy. No. He's aligning you with someone who fits the purpose He has placed on your life. Because love that lasts is not just about chemistry. It's about calling. It's about destiny intersecting with destiny, two lives woven together to fulfill something greater than themselves. You see, many people fall into the trap of looking for love like it's a product on a shelf, something to be picked based on appearance, status, or temporary feelings. But God's plan doesn't work like that. He's not interested in a superficial connection. He wants a partnership that reflects his kingdom. He wants two people who will encourage each other's dreams, strengthen each other's faith, and walk boldly into the assignments God has given them. Your soulmate is someone who will challenge you, not just comfort you. They will push you to be better, to walk higher, and to live fuller. They will help you grow in ways you can't grow alone. That's why God takes time to prepare both of you. Because when purpose and destiny collide, there must be a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of what God is calling you to do together. You might have met people who were fun, attractive, or exciting, but lack the alignment with your purpose. They may have made you feel good temporarily, but they couldn't walk with you in the mission God has placed on your heart. And that's why those relationships didn't last. God's plan is not just to give you a partner for the good times, but a co-laborer for the journey. The one who will stand with you through storms, celebrate your victories, and keep you anchored when life tries to shake your faith. The soulmate God has for you is not just your companion. They are your spiritual counterpart. Someone who understands your calling, believes in your vision, and prays for your success as much as their own. When you find that kind of person, the relationship becomes a force for God's glory, a testimony of his faithfulness. It's not about losing yourself in love, but finding yourself in God's greater plan through love. This is why timing matters so much, because it's not just about bringing two people together. It's about bringing two purpose-driven lives together at the right moment. The right person in the wrong season won't fulfill God's plan. But the right person in the right season will unlock doors, break chains, and advance destinies. This is why God's delays are often divine alignments. He's making sure that when your paths cross, your hearts and your missions are in sync. Sometimes what looks like a missed opportunity or a wrong person is really God steering you toward the person who fits your purpose better. It's easy to be discouraged when relationships don't work out, but every closed door is God's way of keeping your destiny intact. He is protecting you from settling for less than what he has prepared. He's holding out for the union that will not only bring joy, but also fulfill his plan for your life. So don't focus only on feelings or preferences. Don't chase what looks good or feels easy. Ask God to reveal the person who fits the purpose he has for you. Pray for clarity, discernment, and patience. Because the soulmate who fits your purpose is worth waiting for. They will challenge you, support you, and walk with you through every season. Together you will reflect God's glory in a way that no one else can. Remember, God's secret plan to bring you your soulmate is not just about love. It's about legacy. It's about a partnership designed by heaven to advance a purpose here on earth. So trust that he is aligning every detail, orchestrating every meeting, and preparing both of you to fulfill the destiny you were created for together. One of the hardest things to accept in the journey to finding your soulmate is the waiting. The pause that feels like it's stretching longer than you can bear. But here's what you need to understand: timing is not your enemy. Timing is God's tool. Every delay, every moment that feels like silence is actually a part of God's perfect plan unfolding behind the scenes. What feels like waiting is really God working, aligning, refining, and preparing everything so that when your soulmate finally arrives, everything will be exactly as it should be. Too often, we look at delays as denials. When the phone doesn't ring or the door doesn't open, we convince ourselves that God has forgotten us, or worse, that He said no. But that couldn't be further from the truth. God's timing is intentional and precise. He's not late. He's early in the sense that He's preparing the right moment, the right circumstances, and the right hearts. What looks like a "not now" is actually a "wait for the best." Because God is never in a hurry to do something halfway or something that will cause you more pain down the road. Think about the stories in the Bible. Abraham and Sarah waited decades for Isaac. Joseph waited years in a prison before becoming a ruler. David waited long years before sitting on the throne. None of these were accidental delays. They were seasons of preparation that made their eventual blessing sweeter and stronger. The waiting was never wasted. It was a necessary part of the process. Your waiting is no different. God is working on your behalf, even when you don't see it. Sometimes we rush ahead because we want to fix the timing ourselves. We chase relationships that aren't ready, or we settle for less because we're tired of waiting. But rushing never brings God's best. It only brings confusion, brokenness, and heartbreak. God's secret plan requires patience because the best gifts come to those who wait faithfully. When you try to shortcut the process, you miss the divine order that makes the union strong and lasting. During this season of waiting, God is not idle. He is aligning circumstances, closing some doors, opening others, and preparing both you and your soulmate to meet at the right time. That meeting will not be a coincidence. It will be a divine appointment. The right person at the wrong time can still be wrong, but the right person at the right time will be everything God intended. Timing brings alignment, not only in your lives, but in your spirits. The wait can be painful, but it is purposeful. You may feel lonely, but you are not alone. God's presence is with you, strengthening your heart, sharpening your focus, and preparing you for what's ahead. This is the season to deepen your relationship with God, to grow in your understanding of who you are, and to learn what it means to love without desperation or fear. Because when your soulmate arrives, you want to meet them whole, not broken. Remember, the difference between waiting and wandering is purpose. Waiting means you are still on God's timeline. Wandering means you've lost sight of His plan. Stay in faith. Stay in prayer. Keep your heart open and your eyes fixed on God. Trust that every delay is a divine delay, a delay designed not to hurt you, but to protect you and to prepare you. When God finally brings your soulmate into your life, you will see why the wait was worth it. The timing will make sense. The pieces will fit. The peace will be undeniable. You won't have to force it or doubt it. It will be clear that God's hand was guiding every step. So embrace the waiting season. Let it refine you. Let it teach you patience. Let it deepen your faith. Because God's timing is perfect, and His secret plan to bring you your soulmate is unfolding exactly as it should, right on time. One of the most challenging parts of waiting for your soulmate is learning to trust God's plan without trying to control it. So often, we want to interfere. We want to rush the process, push the timing, or manipulate situations so that things happen on our schedule. But here's the truth: God's secret plan to bring you your soulmate requires your trust, not your interference. It requires surrender, not struggle. When you try to take the wheel and drive the story yourself, you risk missing the beautiful unfolding God has prepared. Trusting God means believing that He sees what you cannot see. It means having faith that even when the path looks unclear, His plan is clear and good. When you release your grip on the need to control, you open your heart to receive what God wants to give you. And often, what God gives is far better than what you could have arranged on your own. You don't have to chase love. You don't have to settle for less out of desperation. You don't have to convince someone to be the person God has for you. When you step back and trust God, you allow Him to bring the right person at the right time in the right way. His plan is perfect, and it unfolds beautifully when you stop trying to force it. Interference often comes from fear. Fear of being alone. Fear that the opportunity will pass. Fear that your prayers won't be answered. But fear is a liar, and it pushes you to make decisions that are not from God. God's plan is designed to protect you from heartbreak, from settling, from walking into something that isn't meant for you. Trusting God means trusting that His timing is better than yours. His wisdom is greater than yours, and His love is deeper than you know. You might be tempted to compromise your values, your standards, or your peace just to find love faster. But God's secret plan will never require you to sacrifice who you are or what God has called you to be. When you surrender to God's plan, you protect yourself from pain and disappointment. You keep your heart pure and your spirit aligned with God's purpose. Remember, God's plan is not just about bringing two people together. It's about bringing two whole people together. When you try to control the process, you might end up with someone who fits your timeline, but not your destiny. But when you trust God, He brings someone who complements your calling, strengthens your faith, and walks with you in God's purpose. Trusting God also means being patient with yourself. Sometimes the hardest part is waiting on God to finish His work in you before He reveals your soulmate. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to have everything perfect. God is still working, still molding, still shaping you. When you surrender to that process, you open the door for God's blessing to flow freely. This surrender is an act of faith. It's saying, God, I don't know all the details, but I trust you. I don't understand the timing, but I believe your timing is perfect. I don't see the whole picture, but I know you do. And when you say that, you position yourself to receive God's best. Your soulmate is a gift, not a goal. God's secret plan is to bless you with someone who will walk with you in life's highs and lows. Someone who will love you because of who God made you to be, not because of what you can give them. So stop trying to make things happen on your own. Stop chasing and start trusting. Let God have the lead. Let Him orchestrate every detail. When you surrender control, you release the stress, the worry, and the fear. You make room for peace, joy, and expectation. God's plan is always better than ours because He sees the end from the beginning. Trust God's secret plan to bring you your soulmate. Trust that He's working even when you can't see it. Trust that His timing is perfect. Trust that when the time is right, He will reveal the person who is meant for you in the way only He can do it. Your job is to trust, to wait, and to be ready to receive the love He's preparing for you.